In the dimly lit alleyways of a bustling metropolis, where shadows danced with secrets and whispers lingered in the air like ghosts of the night, a lone figure moved with silent grace. Dressed in a tailored suit that hugged his form, he navigated through the labyrinth of streets with the precision of a predator on the prowl. His name was Alexander Blackwood, but in the clandestine world of espionage, he was known simply as Shadow. Shadow was on a mission unlike any other he had undertaken before. His target, a notorious criminal organization that had eluded the grasp of law enforcement for years. Their operations spanned across borders, their influence reaching into the highest echelons of power. But Shadow was not deterred by the scale of the task ahead. If anything, it fueled the fire within him, driving him to succeed where others had failed. With careful planning and meticulous preparation, Shadow had managed to infiltrate the inner circle of the organization. Disguised as a suave businessman with a taste for the finer things in life, he had gained the trust of key players within the group. But his work had only just begun. As he delved deeper into the heart of the criminal empire, Shadow uncovered layers of deception and betrayal that ran deeper than he could have imagined. Behind the facade of luxury and wealth, he discovered a world steeped in darkness, where loyalty was bought and sold like a commodity. But Shadow was no stranger to the shadows. With each obstacle he faced, he adapted and improvised, relying on his quick wit and sharp instincts to stay one step ahead of his adversaries. Every encounter was a delicate dance of deception, where one wrong move could mean the difference between life and death. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Shadow's determination never wavered. He remained steadfast in his pursuit of justice, driven by the knowledge that the lives of countless innocents hung in the balance. And though the road ahead was fraught with danger, he knew that he could not afford to falter. For in the heart of darkness, a single ray of light can illuminate even the darkest of nights. And as Shadow continued on his quest, he held on to the hope that one day, his actions would bring about the downfall of the criminal organization once and for all. With each passing day, Shadow delved deeper into the labyrinthine network of the criminal organization. His disguise as a suave businessman had granted him access to the inner sanctum, where deals were brokered and alliances forged in the shadows. But as he immersed himself further into the underworld, Shadow found himself walking a precarious tightrope between loyalty and betrayal. Every smile he shared, every handshake exchanged, was a delicate dance of deception, as he sought to maintain his cover while gathering crucial intelligence. One evening, at a lavish gala hosted by the organization's enigmatic leader, Shadow found himself face to face with the very man he had been tasked with bringing down. Clad in a tailored suit and exuding an air of authority, the leader commanded the room with a presence that sent shivers down Shadow's spine. As the night wore on, Shadow seized the opportunity to engage the leader in conversation, carefully probing for any weaknesses or vulnerabilities he could exploit. But the man proved to be a master of deception himself, deflecting Shadow's inquiries with practiced ease. Undeterred, Shadow continued to observe and gather information, his senses honed to razor-sharp precision. With each passing moment, he grew more convinced that the key to dismantling the organization lay within his grasp. But as the night drew to a close and the guests began to depart, Shadow knew that his work had only just begun. For lurking beneath the veneer of sophistication and luxury lay a darkness that threatened to consume everything in its path. With determination burning bright in his eyes, Shadow vowed to press on, driven by the knowledge that the fate of countless lives depended on his success. And though the road ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, he remained resolute in his mission to bring the criminal organization to its knees. For in the shadows of the underworld, justice was a rare and precious commodity. And as Shadow continued to walk the thin line between light and darkness, he knew that he would stop at nothing to see justice served. As the days turned into weeks, Shadow's relentless pursuit of the criminal organization led him down paths fraught with danger and intrigue. With each step he took, the stakes grew higher, and the risks more pronounced. One fateful evening, Shadow found himself in the heart of the organization's operations, a sprawling compound hidden from prying eyes behind a veil of secrecy. Armed guards patrolled the perimeter, their watchful eyes scanning for any signs of intrusion. But Shadow was undeterred by the formidable defenses that lay before him. With nerves of steel and a mind sharpened by years of training, he devised a daring plan to infiltrate the compound and gather the evidence needed to bring the organization to justice. Under the cover of darkness, Shadow moved with silent grace, his movements fluid and precise as he navigated through the labyrinth of corridors and passageways. With each obstacle he encountered, he adapted and improvised, relying on his wits and cunning to outmaneuver his adversaries. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Shadow reached his destination, the inner sanctum of the compound, where the organization's most closely guarded secrets lay hidden. With bated breath, he slipped inside, his heart pounding in his chest as he prepared to face whatever dangers lay in wait. But to his surprise, the room was empty save for a single figure seated behind a desk, bathed in the soft glow of lamplight. It was none other than the organization's enigmatic leader, the man whose machinations had eluded authorities for years. With a steely resolve, Shadow confronted the leader, his voice firm and unwavering as he laid bare the truth of the organization's crimes. But instead of meeting his accusations with defiance, the leader regarded him with a cold, calculating gaze, his expression unreadable. For a moment, the air between them crackled with tension, the weight of their confrontation hanging heavy in the air. But then, with a knowing smile, the leader extended a hand to Shadow, offering an alliance that could change the course of their fates forever. In that moment, Shadow realized that the lines between right and wrong had blurred beyond recognition. And as he weighed his options carefully, he knew that the decision he made would shape the course of his destiny in ways he could never have imagined. With the weight of the world on his shoulders, Shadow made his choice, knowing that the path ahead would be fraught with peril and uncertainty. But one thing was certain: he would stop at nothing to see justice served, even if it meant forging unlikely alliances in the heart of darkness. Shadow's decision to form an alliance with the leader of the criminal organization was a calculated risk, one that could either lead to his downfall or bring him closer to unraveling the web of corruption that had ensnared countless lives. As they forged their tenuous partnership, Shadow found himself walking a fine line between trust and treachery. Every interaction with the leader was laced with tension, each word spoken weighed carefully for hidden meanings and ulterior motives. But despite the inherent risks, Shadow knew that he could not afford to falter. With the leader's insider knowledge and resources at his disposal, he began to piece together the puzzle of the organization's operations, uncovering a web of deceit and betrayal that stretched far beyond what he had ever imagined. Together, they delved into the darkest corners of the criminal underworld, their alliance tested time and time again by the trials they faced. But with each obstacle they overcame, Shadow grew more determined to see their mission through to its conclusion. Yet even as they closed in on their target, a shadow of doubt lingered in the back of Shadow's mind. Could he truly trust the leader of the organization, or was he simply a pawn in a much larger game? As the final pieces of the puzzle fell into place, Shadow found himself standing on the precipice of victory. But just when it seemed that their mission was nearing its end, a new threat emerged from the shadows, one that threatened to unravel everything they had worked so hard to achieve. With time running out and danger closing in from all sides, Shadow knew that he would have to rely on every ounce of skill and determination he possessed to see their mission through to its conclusion. For in the world of espionage, trust was a rare and precious commodity, one that could mean the difference between life and death. As he prepared to face the final showdown, Shadow steeled himself for the challenges that lay ahead. For in the heart of darkness, only the strongest would emerge victorious, and he was determined to prove that justice would always prevail, no matter the cost. The tension in the air was palpable as Shadow and the leader of the criminal organization stood on the brink of their final confrontation. With each passing moment, the weight of their alliance hung heavy between them, a fragile thread holding together the delicate balance of power. As they prepared to face their adversaries, Shadow's mind raced with thoughts of the countless lives that hung in the balance. He knew that the outcome of their struggle would shape the course of history, and he was determined to see justice served, no matter the cost. With a silent nod of understanding, Shadow and the leader of the organization moved as one, their movements synchronized in a deadly dance of deception and betrayal. Together, they fought side by side, their skills honed by years of training and experience. But even as they battled against overwhelming odds, a sense of unease gnawed at the edges of Shadow's consciousness. He knew that their victory was far from assured, and that the true test of their alliance lay ahead. As the final showdown reached its climax, Shadow found himself face to face with the leader of the criminal organization, their eyes locking in a silent exchange of defiance and determination. In that moment, he knew that their fate was sealed, and that only one of them would emerge victorious. With a swift and decisive strike, Shadow unleashed all of his pent-up fury and frustration, striking down his adversary with a force born of righteous fury. As the leader fell, defeated but not broken, Shadow felt a sense of catharsis wash over him, knowing that justice had finally been served. But even as he stood victorious amidst the chaos and destruction, Shadow knew that his work was far from over. For in the world of espionage, the line between good and evil was never as clear-cut as it seemed, and he would always be vigilant in his quest to protect the innocent and uphold the truth. As he disappeared into the shadows once more, a silent guardian watching over the city from the darkness, Shadow knew that his journey was far from over. But with each new challenge he faced, he would stand tall and unyielding, a beacon of hope in a world consumed by darkness. For in the end, it was not the battles he won or the enemies he defeated that defined him, but the strength of his convictions and the unwavering resolve to stand up for what was right, no matter the cost. And as long as there were those who sought to do harm to the innocent, Shadow would be there, a silent sentinel in the night, ever vigilant and ever ready to fight for justice. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more stories. Until next time, take care and keep watching.